Okay guys, in the last video we looked at how we could extract some data from NomisWeb in order that we could put together a data set for analyses in order to meet the requirements of our scenario. We're now going to go on in this video to actually undertake that analysis. Now I apologise, I'm using Excel on Mac, which may look slightly different, only slightly, from the version that you may be using, but the process that we're going to go through is the same. So let's start first of all by considering what we have. We're attempting to identify areas in Shrewsbury where we will find the highest number of young professionals. So we have split Shrewsbury down by wards. This information that we extracted from NomisWeb has been done on age groups. Now, there is a lot of filtering that we could have done at the point of extracting the data. However, I steered clear of doing that simply because I wanted to show you how we can do that filtering on the fly whilst putting together pivot charts. Now, just from a best practice point of view, once having undertaken this, the extraction of the data, okay, I want to try and maintain that data. I don't want anything to happen to the data, so I don't want to lose anything or anything like that. So I have here obviously the tab. What I would like you to do in the first instance is that we're going to make a copy of that tab so that if we do anything wrong, if we delete anything, we've always got the original copy to go back to. So that's just a little bit of best practice for you. And so here we've got data 2. I'm just going to rename that to source. So, the source data is what we are going to spend our time working with. Now, really, for this to work well with pivot tables, we just need to make some minor data cleaning sort of operations just to get this into a format that we can use nicely. So I'm going to create an additional column here called age group, and where I've got the age shown here, I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to paste that data down. Whoops-a-daisy, you can see there that that's now gone 16, 24, 25. I don't really want that, so I think if you hold down the control key, you should make them all 24. There we are. So really what we're doing is we're taking this data here and we're saying, look, this entry is for somebody 16 to 24, this one's for 16 to 24, and the reason that I've done that will become apparent once we've done the same thing for each of the other data sets. So we're just going to copy down the age group that refers to that data set. Do the same thing here. The same thing here. And finally, this one here. So what we have, we now have a label or a specific column next to each entry that says what age group it belongs to. Now I'm going to create another sheet here, which I'm going to call pivot data. And all I'm going to do is for this first one here, I'm going to copy all of that data across. And then subsequent bits, I'm not going to bother with the titles there. I'm just going to take the data. And so what we should end up with is a nice long list that has the ward, all the data, and the age group that it refers to. So if you just want to bring all of that across, again, you may look at this and say, but Neil, I only have to do those that we consider young. Please just humour me, follow the process that I'm undertaking here. It will pay dividends in the end, I promise. So, but strictly speaking, based on what we're trying to find, you are right. But these are some good techniques to learn. So there we are. That's the final one. Okay. So what you should have here, where we've got our table pivot data, is all of that data we've extracted. I'll just stretch that a little bit so you can see. We have got these repeating values. So there's Abby, there's Abby, there's Abby, but they're all for the different age groups. Now, what a pivot table will do is a pivot table will take this replicating data and it will stick it all together. But it will also enable us to filter out things that we don't want. So let's start by selecting all of this data here. So everything that we've just brought across. And we're going to go to Insert, Pivot Table. Now, it will ask us what we want to do. I recommend highly that you stick it in a new worksheet. This part here, of course, refers to the area that we've just highlighted. So let's just do that, and it will now create a new sheet where our pivot table will go. And this here is the important thing for us. And from what we have highlighted here, we should be able to put together a nice analysis of our data that we've collected. Now, let's first of all tick our wards, and we want that to go in the rows down here. So you can see now that what it has done is put all of that data in there. Okay, and let's click age group, and again I want that to go in rows also, because I want to split everything down by age group. Now, I'm not so worried about these things at the moment. We will get rid of those in due course as we start to refine our data. And we also want to have managers, professional occupations, and associate. Okay, so these guys here are what we would consider to be professionals. Administrative and secretarial don't necessarily fall under that heading. Obviously, this has got professional in there, and that's got professional in there, and we might consider managers, directors, and senior officers to be professionals too. This count of 2011, perhaps we want to just get rid of that, and let me see. Right, that's got to come over here too. Okay, get rid of the count of age. You may not find that those things have come across there, but hopefully what you have now got is we've got our different age groups, we've got the columns here, and you can see here that it has provided us with these columns, and that should add up and tell you how many 1624s, how many entire age groups, so it's 237, all of those refer to everything that we've got here. So in theory what we could do is close those down, and this has done a lot of the analysis for us already. So we should be able to start to see what we have. Let's just expand those fields for the moment, because this isn't all that we're after, because of course one of the things that we are concerned about is, of course, we only want those that we consider young. Now, at the risk of categorising myself out of this, I think we could consider people aged between 16 and 24 to still be young as far as professionals are concerned, and I think those aged between 25 and 34 would also feel that they are young too. Once we start to get over 34, perhaps rather than saying old, we'll say they're experienced. So the young professionals, I think if we just highlight ages 16 to 24, we can do it like that. Alternatively, we can use something called a slicer, and we can just, if we choose age group, we can now filter out the ones that we don't want. So you could just click on the button individually. Alternatively, if you click and drag, that will encompass the two areas that we're looking for there. So this slicer gives us a little bit more flexibility. So if you went, oh, that's where all the young professionals are, and someone said, oh, let's have a look at the people under 50, we knew that we could just increase that, and that data set will be quite flexible like that. So that's great. It gives us some ideas, but of course that is not the end of it, because you can see here, whilst we get some raw numbers, it isn't perhaps as easy as it could be, simply because it doesn't really tell us much in terms of where our sort of most young professionals are, or at least not easily. So what we really need to do is we need to perform some kind of calculation that is going to add these three columns up. So for that, okay, we're going to use fields, sets and groups here, sorry, fields, items and sets, and choose calculated field. Now what this will enable us to do is perform a calculation that will add up the columns that we want. So let's give this a name. We'll call this, I don't know, young professionals, and we can now go and choose what we want to do. So where the formula was, take out the 0 where it says insert field, and then we're going to add, and I'm going to choose the second one, insert field, add again, and we'll choose the third one, insert field. And so this will have done a calculation that includes all three of these columns. And if we just OK that, we now have a list, or added to our list, our young professionals. Now look, let's highlight these, let's collapse all our fields, and we can see here that we have got so 567 looks like it's the highest number, 463. That's all well and good, but perhaps what we could really do with doing is finding the best way to arrange this data, or even identify it as being the highest. So what we could do, we could use conditional formatting. So conditional formatting might allow us to highlight various things here. So let's just move that out of the way. So for instance, we've got these top bottom rules here, and this it doesn't look like it wants to work. Right, I apologise. I can't get the I can't get that to work on this version. I will check that out and resolve it. There is, of course, another alternative way of doing it, and that is for us to just sort the data by the highest of our young professionals. So if we select the field, the wards, okay, and what we're going to do we're going to sort it by the sum of young professionals, and of course we want to do it descending. So we now have arranged this data so that it's in an order by where we have the highest number of young professionals at the top, going down to the lowest, and you should find that if you've done this correctly, Basin Hill, Colham and Sutton should be at the top, Quarry and Cutton Hill, Bagley, Port Hill and Bellevue. These ones should be the top 5. If you don't have that as your answer, then perhaps you need to relook at your data extraction, but that is the long and the short of how to do the analyses of your data. So your top 5 areas, just there. Obviously we have inserted a calculated field, having sorted our data, and we have also just used a pivot table here to take out the columns that we want, and a slicer so that we can change the age group data that we want, and that should perform quite nicely and should enable you to go on and undertake the final work that you need to do for assignment 5. So any questions or anything like that, leave a comment. Alternatively, drop me an email at neilc@shrewsbury.ac.uk. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.